What's up, my name is Alex, I'm a professional music producer. Today I want to analyze and react to the music of Genshin Impact, composed by Chinese composer Yu-Peng Chen. We're gonna look at Liyue's battle theme as well as Dvalin's nest track. Let's go. You don't love that. The way this starts is kind of similar to me in my mind to something like Last Surprise. At the beginning of this track, we have a certain ostinato that keeps on playing. When it repeats, it goes to a harmonization where it does this. You put them together. What makes it sound even better is the fact that as the track progresses, you have like these strings that kind of join the harmony. And underneath that, I think you have a harp doing something like... The way the combination of woodwinds and harp feels is like a flutter of wind, which is why it sounds freaking amazing in the track, especially when it has these interlinked notes that create an interesting texture. Kind of reminds me of also of the organ in Interstellar. They have similar textures there, which are pretty amazing to hear. There we go, that. So, this sounds very different from most of the soundtracks you would hear. This is the thing I love about Genshin Impact. It was developed by some Chinese developers. The composer is Chinese. Everything about this game is Chinese. And Liyue is the part of the world where they really want to represent their own culture, and you can hear it in the music. The percussion they're using, they're not the usual Hollywood percussion. They're actually sort of like taikos or Asian percussion. And also the bass line that the cellos are playing. When you put that together with the woodwind texture, that sort of melody in the bass line, you rarely hear this in Western music. While with Asian music, they try to go and do things a bit more interesting. The reason why I say that texture reminded me of Persona 5, by the way, is that in Persona 5, in Last Surprise, you have an intro where there's some strings playing an ostinato line that keeps on repeating to introduce you to the track. The difference between Last Surprise and this, that in Last Surprise it sounds jazzy and elegant. Here it sounds like freedom. Like we're in this vast space. And then there's this part, which I love it. This instrument must be like, this is a ethnic traditional Chinese string instrument. I think it's the pipa. There's another, I don't remember the name, but there's a few traditional Chinese instruments which are used a lot in Genshin Impact, and they sound amazing. Again, sounds rare. You don't hear this often in normal JRPG music. And again, that's what you hear, but also there's like something else going on underneath that. Like, listen now. Like, it's pretty cool. All those like textures underneath kind of carry the track forwards and give this sense of like, whoa, this is engaging. It's pretty cool, and you want to listen to it more and more. Which is why when this track came on the first time, I didn't hit the monsters at all. I was just listening and vibing. And also the brass there. It's interesting because this is Shanghai Symphonic Orchestra, I think. And while it has the layout of a traditional orchestra, like you have the strings, the brass and everything, they added all these instruments, but without forgetting the normal instruments too. Like with the instrument that is playing the pipa, I think, you have a piano playing the same thing. So it's as if they took what we know as, worldwide sound of a regular symphonic orchestra, and on top of that they added this thick layer of traditional Chinese instruments carrying the main melody. So while we don't feel lost because we're hearing instruments that we know very well and stuff, the way they orchestrated it and the instruments they use as the protagonists are the harbingers of their culture, which I freaking love because they also sound so different. Yeah, now you can understand what I'm saying. Like when I say the sensation. Now this instrument, the pipa, again, it has an interesting sound. It's a string instrument. It's sort of like a guitar, right? But it's not exactly a guitar because it sounds way more dry and way more like small. And also when they do like that like is when you slide between two notes on the same string. That is called portamento. It occurs a lot in traditional Asian music, and it's what makes this melody so freaking cool. Okay, I think this melody that is playing on pipa and on the ethnic flute just replied to my question of why does this sound like Asian melodies to me. The reason why is, first, there's loads of like bendings and portamentos as I explained before, but second, these instruments are playing so many notes. Just count the number of notes in the span of 10 seconds now. That way of writing melodies is quite uncommon. This, though, you're gonna hear it a lot in like traditional Chinese music, at the very least, I think. And also, what is so cool about this style of writing is that the harmony it implies is amazing. To explain you what I mean, just listen to the chords that are being put in this song. I'm gonna play them on piano so you can figure it out. Like, those are so cool, and the thing you notice is that the bass line does da da ba 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 da 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 da. It sounds like you just lost the game. But this, when you write music this way, this is called chromatic bass line. And a bass line that kind of does all the notes, doesn't belong to one particular specific scale, just does all the notes it wants to do. And this, like writing bass lines like this, implies that you're gonna have to use a harmony that is quite particular. And indeed, it is. I'm wondering right now if we can make this song funky. Well, that should speak for itself. And I love all these notes in the melody. So right now, in the flute, that thing right there, it's like taking these two notes, 1 and 2, and doing that. And it comes out very nicely on woodwinds. It's called trill. But what I love the most is, you know, the notes in the main melody that are just there for embellishment. Like, that's like, instead of doing this note by itself, they do, which is like ba da da, and it's like this melody is full of those super short notes that are added there just for embellishment. Those are called grace notes, and it's something everyone uses, but I find that this soundtrack uses them a lot. Without the grace notes, this wouldn't sound as amazing. It's freaking great. And this, like, bro, this is a freaking Studio Ghibli movie top tier quality orchestration. It's like, I love how this sounds like free, like we're just soaring in the sky, and it's because of those woodwinds. Woodwinds are so rare in orchestral music for movies in Hollywood nowadays. So when I hear them here, I'm like, oh my god, it's been such a long time ever since I heard such great woodwinds. And that sort of woodwind texture is sort of like the foundation. The thing that makes us fly, though, is the melody in the choir and strings. This is strings and choir. That's so great, oh my god! And I love the harmony that keeps on changing. So the cool thing is the track is doing is like, it's not like shying away from this ostinato that it played at the beginning of the piece. Like taka 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 taka, like that ostinato, that shape stays, but now it's kind of moving it around. So to change the harmony to give the melody more space to kind of go to other notes and give us other types of emotion. This is why I say it feels like flying. And that's kind of what happens when you have a cool harmony that goes along with the melody. I'm trying to explain this in a way that non-musicians will understand. So that's why it sounds a bit dumb, but actually that's what's going on, man. And now, there's this new part where the melody is being led by the brass, which sounds epic, this French horn, ba 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 ba. But what you might not have noticed is that, again, the track is holding your hand, like what we heard in the beginning on the pipa, this melody. Pay attention now, you're gonna hear that again in that part with the French horn, but on a separate instrument. It's like a xylophone or something, but it's kind of the same thing. So your mind is not lost, it's just expanded. It's amazing. Woohoo, that modulation there? Okay, that's cool. I didn't hear that in the game. Yeah, dude. What? keep on modulating. Wow. And modulation is kind of like when a track changes phase harmonically in a way where you weren't expecting that. The track keeps on doing that. This kind of reminds me of Masashi Yamahuzu, like from Final Fantasy 13 and 7 Remake and stuff. It's amazing. Wow. Yeah, that's a winner. But Genshin Impact doesn't stop there. It also does emotional tracks quite well. Don't know if you actually reached the Dvalin's nest, but the track that plays there, oh my lord. Oh my lord. It's sort of like an adagio or something that sounds very somber. And it plays in this map full of desolation. And it kind of goes like this. Can you feel the pain and despair that is being represented right now? So the cool thing about Dvalin's Nest, the thing this song is trying to represent is the pain, the internal struggle of a certain dragon. Dragons live for hundreds of years, so this is a pain that is very ancient. And this dragon is old now, but the way it sounds with this sort of lament on the vocal here, for me, it's in between a female vocalist, but it could also be the vocal of a young kid, because when we're kids, we can reach this super high tone. So there's actually boys choir that actually sing on these sort of songs in the orchestra sometimes. So this morning, if it's sang by a boy, it's sort of like telling us the pain that this dragon is feeling goes back to his childhood. And even though he's like thousands of years like old and whatever, he still has that kid inside that has been hurt. And that's I don't know, that's just theory crafting at this point and musically, but that's cool. And also I love the fact that, the track is kind of cluttered here with the strings and stuff. And then here, the whole orchestral arrangement stops completely, and all you hear is the somber, sad piano notes and the lament of the dragon portrayed by the vocals, essentially showing that he's been left alone by everyone. The whole orchestra has left me to my feels, the piano, and my tears, the vocals. So that's amazing. This is a very beautiful piece of music throughout, but the meaning behind it is represented in the choice of instruments. Not only in the melody, in the choice of the instruments themselves. That is, I don't know, that's amazing. Man, that... See what we're hearing now? Like that oboe, like... You know who uses oboes like this much to create feels? Yoko Shimomura. In fact, if you take this track and rearrange it, you take that solo vocal and you rearrange it to solo violin or something, this could totally sound like a Yoko Shimomura track. Also, Nobuo Uematsu uses oboe like that, but those are the only two composers I can think of that use oboe in this beautiful way in JRPGs and stuff. So this is so nostalgic to me because that's the music of my childhood. Not that I had a sad childhood, it's just, Kingdom Hearts music and Final Fantasy music is fucking legendary. But yeah, that's great and that's rare. It's fucking amazing. And what I love the most about this track is that it's that type of track that plays throughout the combats as well. Normally maps have their own combat music and stuff, but in this map, you just hear this music. Whatever you do, the sadness of Dvalin is portrayed throughout the whole gameplay in this particular area. As you can see, the music in this game kinda captured my soul, and not only that, the whole game got me addicted. It's so freaking good. I would recommend it to anyone. And I hope this video was used vibing for the most time. I always try to teach you guys something new when I analyze video game music, which happens all the freaking time on this channel. If you want to see more of that, subscribe. But sometimes I just vibe. I hope you still enjoyed that, and I'm gonna see you in the next analysis. Bye.